What is up, everyone? How we doing? Are you tired of looking at this mug every day? I get it. So let's switch things up. Legend Dayton Huntsman has decided to not let the coronavirus choke the life out of UPC, so he's bringing it back from the comforts of his own crib. Dayton decided to do some good news in these hard times. So Dayton, thank you for bringing this. Take it away.
What's poppin', Seaside, or whoever else stumbles across this video? I'm Dayton, and you're watching the Dayton Daily News, or Some Good News, or UPC. The jury's still out on the name. I'm here to bring you some good news because while the world tears itself apart, I can do my part and spread some good. That being said, let's get to it. What an incredible week this was. As we all try to navigate these unprecedented times, people show that even with all this anxiety, fear, and unknown, that there's still good in the world. An anonymous Maryland mother is getting a lot of love for leaving out hundreds of bagged lunches for her community during the lockdown. I guess it's true what they say that not all heroes wear capes. The mom has been leaving the healthy meals on a tent shelter table at an intersection near a park. Hanging from the table is a sign that reads, "For anyone who needs it, I'll be leaving some healthy sack lunches on the table if you are hungry and need to eat. Made with love by a neighborhood mom in a clean and sanitized kitchen." The table has been stocked with free lunches between 11 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. every day for several weeks. Not only does this redeem my faith in humanity, it's also a win for moms. In other news, as more and more U.S. states and world regions order stay-at-home orders and lockdowns during the COVID-19 outbreaks, some areas that have been hit the hardest by the virus are showing that the restrictions are working. That's fan-freaking-tastic because I'm starting to go a little crazy, or at least a little bit crazier than I was before. Since symptoms of the coronavirus start to show within 2 weeks of infection, today's infections are results of interactions from early March. China has slowly begun lifting its social restrictions since the quarantine regulation helped the nation recover from the virus. It has now been about 2 weeks since Italy ordered a national lockdown amidst the outbreaks, and rates of infections have been steadily declining since the country's first recorded death on February 21st. So even though it sucks, staying at home is helping the world get better. Hopefully, this can all be over soon, and we get started on the alien invasion.
That a boy, Dayton. Way to dominate. If you want to see the entire show, just go to YouTube, type in his name, Dayton Huntsman. Look for Dayton Daily News. It should be like the first or second thing posted. Also, as I've said before, if you want to help him with good news stories, I'm sure he could use the help, and you can use that as your project. All right, for my TV1 posse, thank you to those who have already turned in their treatments. I appreciate the good and hard work. However, I've read a lot of them. We need more detail. This isn't a summary of what's happening. We need to fill in the gaps. Why people are reacting a certain way to certain instances. You know, why a character is going a certain path. Their actual details of getting from point A to point B. Right now we're just saying, this happened, and we don't explain why it happened. So we need to fill in more of the gaps right now before we go to writing our first draft, because as you'll see, as I'm going to show you later, first drafts, scripts in general, are very detailed. It tells us everything from what the camera shot looks like, what the room or the environment. It sets the tone, paints the picture of what is actually happening. The camera movement, who's in the camera shot, and a full description of what they are doing. So it's very detailed, as I'll show you in a second. But instead of listening to me talk about writing first drafts, let's hear from some of the screenwriters of some of your favorite films. Hit it.
The hardest thing about getting the first draft finished is getting the first draft finished. I think a mistake that a lot of beginning writers do is they start trying to rewrite while they're writing the first draft. And I find that there's two different kind of left brain, right brain modes of writing. There's the pure creative side of it, and then there's the editorial side, the more analytical side. And I think it's a mistake to allow the analytical side to impede upon the creative side.
It's fun when I go to write the script, in a way, because the movie, in a sense, is done in a sloppy way, and I'm coming in and getting to do what I consider the really fun part of the job, which is really the moment-to-moment. I know what I'm going to do every day at that point.
I've always sort of written chronologically, even from first draft stage. I don't do that thing of burning through what a lot of people do just to have a sense of the whole. I sort of need, it's such an important part of the discovery for me, and also the first draft is really where it's laid down. I think it sort of gets into a groove, which is then quite hard to get out of. You can refine scenes and kind of bring new scenes in and take stuff out, but actually there's such an important setting of rhythm and tone and whatever in that first draft that I spend a little bit longer on.
By the time I'm actually writing dialogue, I really know, at least I think I know, where I'm going. Frequently, I'll be writing and then I realise that I have to deviate, and then I will go back to note form and back to outline form before doing that on the screenplay. I never experiment on the screenplay.
And you have to not be too hard on yourself when you're doing that first draft. I mean, sometimes, if I'm really disgusted with myself, I will write, literally I will write, science gobbledygook in parentheses, from this one actor, or a sad story about his childhood, in parentheses, and then I'll go back afterwards and fill it in.
All right, so that's good advice right there. Good way to attack things. And it doesn't really matter how you attack this. I've read anything from, hey, if you have a killer ending, maybe you want to write that ending and work your way backwards. Start in the middle if you kind of know the meat and potatoes of it, or traditionally go from beginning to end. It doesn't matter as long as you know how to fill in the gaps. I'll give you plenty of time to write your first draft. The key though, writing a little each day, and if inspiration hits and you're not at your computer, have something to write it down on. All right, ready, break. Have a good day, everyone.